to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today to Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions. And I am very happy to be here. Hello JP, how are you?
I'm alright. You're in a different environment acoustically.
Yes, completely. Is it really loud?
No, it's alright. There's more of a room, open room now. So, yeah, and new picture of forest warrior with wolves.
That's right. That is it's a Freya picture.
All right.
So, and someone sent that to me, and I thought that was pretty cool. I really liked it, and I was sent a few different pictures, and I thought, well, this is really cool. I think I'm gonna keep this and put that in there. Although typically I advertise the show on my Skype. Yeah. And so if I'm too loud, you can always adjust the sound, I guess, if it sounds too boomy.
No, you're fine. It's not boomy. It's just, it's a different environment, So that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. But you're going to notice that a lot because I have moved from my space, where I was before, and yay!
Very good. Is it better? Are you in a better place?
Yeah, I feel like I was, perpetually dealing with
drama
and baggage of stuff that seemed to never end. It never, ever end. So, sometimes we have to deal with our stuff. Sometimes we're there to help others, and sometimes people don't really want to be helped. So, and that's fine. Everyone's at their own pace, but I have things that I need to do. I need to help others, and that do want help, and I'm here to. I'm a writer, and so it makes it, kind of have to be in a space, and so. And that's all good, and that's where I'm at right now.
Fabulous. As long as it's warm and it's safe and you've got food, then all is good, eh?
Yeah. I mean, life is a journey, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So, still not quite sure where I'm gonna land, but, staying with friends and trying to figure out what to do. I never thought I'd be in this situation at my age. But one never knows, the things get kind of turned around, and so you just do whatever you have to do to keep things going. But otherwise, things are going well. I find there's a lot of things happening on the planet right now too. I mean,
and off.
We all know, and off planet, correct.
So, but, on planet. So, what's going on? What's going on? What are you going to talk about? Because there's so much to that.
I just had a realization of something. It completely threw off my day. And to some people, they might not see the significance of it, but it was really weird. I mean, some people just think, I suppose if you're listening to my show, you know that I'm looking at things from another dimensional perspective. And that can be a little hard for some people to grasp, but then, when you start to see how it trickles down and it does affect things, then it starts to make sense. Well, I had this very, very strange session with someone, and a realization, came out of it. Where I started, you ever see those things where you link one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and then you're like, how in the world did that happen? And then it comes out that there's this thread that you unraveled.
And it seems to link in other things, yeah?
It was a kind of a big thing. And it was I mean, like I said, you could take this however you want, but I just saw a strange link between, you ever see the history of some of these celebrities who seem to have a picture, an image of themselves from the past as time travelers?
Oh, right, like, Nick Cage and, John Travolta, I don't know about him, but, certainly Tom Cruise and Putin as well, Vladimir Putin.
Right. Well, I know some people believe that he has the DNA of Alexander the Great. Is that correct? Have you ever heard that?
No, but well, he's a pretty powerful person, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is. And, of course that, Andrew Brissaggio has also said that Obama, he said that Obama had some of the DNA of Akhenaten.
Oh yes, Barack Martin.
Okay. So, as I was doing the session with this person, and they kept on saying they were having dreams of Jennifer Lawrence. You know who Jennifer Lawrence is?
Uh-huh. She was in, oh God.
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, that's right.
Right. All right. So Jennifer Lawrence keeps showing up, and other people have told me this before as well. And so trying to figure out now, is this her or is this aspect of her that, appears with his face? But you do see her as one of those candidates of, potential time traveler because she was, I'd have to look it up, who that they said that she looked like. It was someone from Egypt, I believe. Let's see, if I do a Jennifer Lawrence time travel, right, and look online. Anyhow, they do have pictures of her looking like this other queen from another time. And then she...
Helen Mirren.
Is that the name?
There's another one. We don't want to pull our tinfoil hats yet, but we're getting pretty convinced by an ongoing internet conspiracy theory that Jennifer Lawrence and Helen Mirren are actually the same person. So there you go. So even, Helen Mirren is an English actress who she played the Queen in one of her bigger roles.
You said her name was Mirren.
Mirren. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then there was the David Bowie Mirren thing.
Right.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so we're tracing some of these unexplained. There you go, right? So here's this thread. So Helen Mirren and her are the same. Helen Mirren seems to have aged very, very gracefully. But it does make you wonder. But there was also, it wasn't just that. It was some I believe it was an Egyptian queen. I mean, the face is identical. And I'm trying to find the picture for that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm just looking this up. Jennifer, was that? I was not actually an Egyptian queen, but an Egyptian actress, Zubaida Thawat,
there we
from
go.
the 1960s.
All right, hold that thought.
Holding that thought in my brain.
That. Yes. Okay. So I saw her there, and then I saw her go over to, and then I saw her connection over to Iran for some reason, and then brought over to, she was connected over to Egypt, right? Then I saw her connected to Nefertiti.
Okay.
And I thought, yeah. And I'm like, well, then I saw her connected to, or trying to step into, Meghan Markle.
Oh, Meghan Markle.
I don't know how this works, but they do.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. And then I saw Obama connecting to Harry, and what it looked like, I mean, this is bizarre. It looked like Akhenaten and Nefertiti coming together and essentially coming through these two to create another empire in England. It's very far-fetched. I can't prove it, but I will tell you that I do this all the time. I'm able to follow the being and what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I saw that, and I was like, well, how in the world is Meghan Markle connected to Harry? And because it seemed like it was typically, you know, and I don't know, I have to say this very careful because I don't know. I mean, I'm not from the UK, but typically I think that they have this lineage thing, right? And a certain, you know, there's certain parameters around who's allowed to step in. It's like a pedigree type of thing. And suddenly, you know, and there was also this other thing that came up that's also on YouTube showing that Harry, I think it was Tim Gouda, sent me this really interesting email that I stumbled on yesterday. And Tim, you were so awesome, and maybe you should come on and talk. I don't know if he's even in the chat or not, but
I think it's a bit early for him over in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I just need to go and get my coffee. It's probably boiling away on the stove. Hang on.
Oh, okay. Get your coffee. So, you know, I'm getting all this information. I'm trying to piece it all together and saying, well, you know, because, well, what would be my interest? You know, I'm not into the Inquirer. I'm not into, you know, speculation and rumor and just to talk about people or to, I always feel that there's this power structure. There's a power structure going on. And the power structure is in the other dimensions happening in trying to step in to our reality. And you wonder how, you know, how does Adolf Hitler, who's Austrian, become the ruler of Germany? How did Napoleon, who was an Italian citizen, become a ruler of France? These are beings that step into the body and then assume this power position. So you could say this is my theory, or this is something that I can perceive from another dimensional space, and I watch it happen and play out. How do these individuals have power? How do they break the rules and step into situations that it's really next to impossible on some occasions to do so? However, the one piece that's missing is the power being. I won't call them the god or a demigod or whatever you want to call them. But a being that has asserted themselves as powerful on the earth, who have power elsewhere, maybe off-world, and then, you know, come in and decide to, you know, insert their power structure. So, JP, you back yet? No, I guess not. I'm trying to hold on to a piece of the story for JP to be back for me to complete the thought. But there's just these things that, you know, continue to go on. There's patterns of it. You see one part of the world, you know, becomes very powerful. You know, we have empires. The Ottoman Empire, Alexander the Great. You can go all the way down to, you know, the power structure of the U.S. Something has to bring in the power. And many times it's the same ones, but no one really puts it together. They don't really see that it's the same being that might be over in Turkey in one, you know, time span and ruling something, and then later on be in Egypt in another, and then maybe be in Israel, which is weird because you see them all fighting, you know, or seemingly fighting, but it's just that these beings are shifting and then going into different places, which some may say, wow, that's kind of, you know, why are they doing that? It's almost like playing like this is a game of chess or something, you know, here on the earth. But I'm not saying that these beings are benevolent. And the ones that step in, there are some others that step in and, you know, become these weird, like, dictators, like maybe from the other nations where there's some kind of gap and the vibration is kind of lower, and other beings can step in as well. But some of the really big ones, the ones that really like world dominance, you know, are coming from this perspective. So, just to give a background and understanding about Akhenaten believed in there should be only one God that's worshipped, and that's him. And, you know, people are kind of glamorized by Egypt, and they don't fully look at the dynamic of how everything was set up. So you have, you know, an array of, you know, a pantheon of deities that it begins with, and then you have this, like, you know, Osiris, Isis, and Set, which is connected to Ra, and then you have, you know, like, you know, the other ones like Anubis and Mat, and, you know, there's a whole bunch of them. I mean, I can go down the list. But when Akhenaten shows up, he says there's only one. And when he, you know, he wants to get rid of all of the other beings. You know, he just says, don't worship them, only worship me. So this personality is coming in, and I saw him dimensionally trying to kind of influence. I don't know how to say it. Do I say he gets possessed or overtaken or just influenced, or he's the puppeteer, the puppet master of Harry? I don't know. So, JP, you back?
I'm back.
Okay. All right. So, I'm watching this whole thing unfold in front of me, and I'm seeing Akhenaten and Nefertiti coming together again, because they are a couple, whatever dynamic that is, and or partners, you know, in this partners of crime, you know, galactic crime, coming into the earth without permission and trying to assert themselves. So then I see this perspective, and there's like this weird video about Harry. And Tim Good has sent me something way back where he said that there was a gentleman. Let me see if I can get the message, and I hope that he is open for me to share. You know, typically people want me to share their information, and so I'm just going to follow with that thought and trust that he wanted me to share this. But he said that he had heard someone by the name of Robert Morning Sky in the late 1990s talk about different things, and then he went on to talk about how Charles would be bypassed. He knew about that. And that, you know, William would then be brought in, but he would be removed or stepped down in favor of Harry. Partly because, and this is what he said, the candidate needed to have a name with the consonant sound of KR or HR, Harold or Jorge. He said the Spanish word for George. And then he pronounced it like Jorge, and it has something. He said he couldn't remember whether this relates to William or Harry, but he mentioned that the ritual of the Sun King, and then he talked about how the 17th century French King Louis was known as the Sun King. So Akhenaten called himself a Sun King, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Or the sun god.
A sun god, yeah. So then I see this other video about Harry, and it's just something on YouTube, why Prince Harry doesn't want you to know, and it's a whole sequence of you know, and then they do the whole 666 thing. So now here's Harry, you know, it looks like he's like his mother Diana, and he's generous, and he's doing all this stuff, which, I mean, I'm not gonna say that the royals they're humans or they're not humans or whatever, but I'm just saying that, you know, he seems somewhat benevolent like Diana. And how in the world could he have this whole thing with the 666? And the only thing I could think of is that Akhenaten has control. And I was just trying to, I don't know. I don't know why this is all coming up and whether this is important, but maybe it is. Maybe it's something that just people need to understand, and that and I had asked that Akhenaten and Nefertiti do not get control on the earth, because I think they've already made a mess of things as it is, and done quite a bit of damage. So there, I said it.
Well, let's see if any comments come up in the YouTube, eh?
Yeah.
So Akhenaten, who's currently Barack Obama, who's not headed for a good destiny right now.
But Barack Obama has the DNA of Akhenaten, but is not the true overlord Akhenaten. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that one's moving. He can move anywhere he wants, whereas, Obama is just kind of still kind of a puppet of the one in the higher levels, other dimensions. Yeah. That's the one I'm concerned about, not Obama as much.
The one who's riding the puppet, who's driving the car.
Yes.
Not the car itself. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Same with Nefertiti. So Jennifer Lawrence is not 100% Nefertiti, but is connected. And as is, some of the others that she was connected to, Helen Mirren, which is very interesting, which brings us back to the connection with Rhodan, right? Remember Rhodan and High Brazil?
Mm. Oh.
It's very convoluted.
Yeah, I found High Brazil recently. It was, well, not High Brazil. I found something. If you look on Google Maps at the area, just well, sort of northwest of the British Isles, sort of west of Scotland and kind of north of Ireland. There's an enormous. If you look at the sea under there, you can see that there are land masses below the sea, below the ocean, and one of them looks like a crater with a great big kind of, well, it's sort of oval-shaped thing in it. So I was wondering, I wonder if that's what High Brazil was.
It actually looked like a sphere, like one of those what are they called? Those big spheres.
Uh-huh.
It looked like a ship to me.
Yeah.
And I told everyone, I said at one point, the strangeness of High Brazil, I was actually seeing an overlay of that, or even, close to where I lived at one point, when I started talking about it and discussing, and if you recall, when I talked to Rhodan about her, he said that she had one green eye and one blue eye. And at the time I was working part-time for someone as a driver, for a food lab, I call it, they used to, have me go pick up, and I'd work a little bit in the lab, and then they had me go pick up products, and, for manufacturing, checking for salmonella and all the basic things that they need to, for health, food safety. And I would go occasionally to this one location, and there was this guy that had one green eye and one blue eye. And he was at the security desk. I always thought it was weird. I mean, what are the odds? Like, it was right around that time, and probably only one other time did I ever meet someone that had that appearance, and who knows who she was. I mean, it might have been the same thing, but that was his description of her and how she looked at the time when he met her and spent time with her. But she was, remember, Rhodan was also Osiris at one time. So which brings you back to Egypt again. And it's very likely, and who knows if I know that Jennifer Lawrence and Helen Mirren, neither one of them have that. Their eyes are similar, right?
I think so.
But okay, so I'm looking at this crater that you. And I sent that video to the 666 video of what they said about Harry. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's in the chat room now.
Yeah, okay. It's interesting, yeah.
You see what I mean? It's got quite a very distinct
Shape.
crater and shape. It looks a bit like the Millennium Falcon, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow. Anywho.
So yeah, well, conspiracy theories, galactic conspiracy theories. So instead of saying that these are humans playing something out, these are the galactics playing something out. And they have consistently done that for a long time, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, if this, I'm not sure if it is. I mean, how big would this be? I'm not sure of the actual scale of this. I'm looking at a deeper picture of this. And it looks like the top, the northwest side of it is kind of cut into the land. Or that it's just collapsed on that side.
Yeah.
The currents of the ocean or something like that.
Well, I thought the one I saw looked like a Dyson sphere. And it was brass looking. And so when they said it was Brazil, I took it that was a brass island. High brass isle.
Yeah.
That's the way they said it to me, which is, kind of strange. But, it was like a ship. It was some kind of craft. And, in some ways looked steampunk in a way. But maybe that was just a vehicle that they used and traveled with, but maybe there was actually a landmass that they were on as well. It's hard to tell because it still remains a mystery, and it was pretty amazing, wasn't it? As far as the historical records of what it looked like when they went there. But here again, you have the same players that are involved. So if Jennifer Lawrence is the same as Ellen, is it Ellen or Helen Mirren?
Helen,
and then Rhodan claimed that he was with Mirren. We kind of pieced that together, didn't we? But it brings it back to Nefertiti, the energy of Nefertiti.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I just kind of made me step back and say, caught another one.
So they're not really. So maybe they're not really time travelers. Is that they're injecting themselves into different times, in the same way that Meetis does that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's more like Meetis rather than like Max Spears.
Yeah.
Max Spears organically was moving through the secret space program. These are definitely off-world beings who are jumping through time, as Meetis can do. Meetis is a time traveler, but I would not call him human. And I would not call Nefertiti or Akhenaten human either. I know that they're from another planet. Or definitely, somewhere in the galaxy. And Akhenaten, I've actually seen him by the sun, in the sun, but not the sun. So I think he also found a gate or had access to the soul gate, probably from Rhodan or Helios or someone that was here, and he somehow found his way through there. But they're somewhat the darker nature, more sinister, and they really have had their time, playing rulers on the earth and kind of making humans subordinate, kind of like the depiction of the Anunnaki, where the Anunnaki are telling the humans to be their slaves and all of that. It's kind of the same thing, where they want to be worshipped. They're here to be they're not the benevolent group. that we're looking for. And the other piece that bothered me is if everything was linking together the way I had seen it, is that they want to play out this whole Christ Antichrist thing, which is something as part of their agenda for something for them to gain, or a one world order for them, to be in control of humans. And here again, then it becomes a slave situation, which we're not consenting or agreeing to.
So we get trapped into another, these are our gods, and etc.
Yeah. Well, we don't need them. I mean, we understand that there are the benevolent ones, if they want to help us, fine. But these other ones, if they want to rule us and control us, that's when I say no. I mean, if I can see them or find them, then I can at least present, what their agenda is, and to the others that can, kind of squash their idea. So hopefully, maybe that possibly could be resolved. And people down the road might say, none of that played out like you said it was going to. Wonderful. You can call me whatever you want, or say that I'm incorrect or whatever. As long as this doesn't play out, then I'm happy. So it's all good to me. I just don't want to see any of this stuff. I want us to all be free and sovereign and to stay that way. So, just like I said, I share. If you can agree or disagree, it doesn't really matter, because in the end, if it doesn't happen, and I can't prove that it was going to happen because it doesn't happen, then I'm equally happy. I'm fine. I don't have to be right, or I would be right, but no one would ever know, and that'd be fine too. It just, as long as it doesn't happen, it's good. So, not to keep on repeating myself. Anyhow, but we do have some guests today, and we're going to talk about something kind of more progressive. I know that I think Libero was trying to come through, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Libero today. I mean, I've gone through a lot of transition, so there was another reality, I believe, that's been removed, and this was a reality called the Jozer or the Dozer or something like that. Here again, it goes back to Egypt. There was a being by the name of Jozer, which is, I think, is Djozer, and there was, it was a control system of a type of entity that's, dark, very dark entities, but they're not Dracos. Kind of very negative, lack of consciousness. And they've had some influence on the earth as well. And I had a dream where I was in a space with a whole bunch of them, and there was a young boy that sat next to me and told me he was the Dozer, or the Jozer, or whatever, however you say the name. And I just thought, well, what is he saying? It's like, in other words, we're in control. And I felt like that was, here again, it was all agenda. It was what they wanted from us, what they were taking from humans. And when I woke up, I started looking into it, and then I realized, which is really weird, is Ghostbusters talks about this as well. Like, I think that it's mentioned in Ghostbusters, they use that name in the Zool or something like that. It's essentially those kind of creatures. And so I believe Libero took that group off-world because it doesn't need to be here. They've added nothing benevolent to the planet, and they were just trying to pull people into their stuff, humans, and they were looshing and doing all sorts of stuff. But I can't say that they were Dracos. I can't say they were reptilians. I mean, if we were, go to look at gargoyles or demons or whatever you want to call them, it was something more like that. But still, I don't even know how to categorize. And I didn't feel like they came, if they came from the galactic space, I don't know when that would have happened, because I think they've been on the planet since the beginning. But, kind of more in the earth. And I also felt like they, had shape-shifting abilities. But I don't think any of us are going to miss them, to be honest with you. I think they were just, controlling, manipulative, shape-shifting, and probably creating scenarios or drawing us into stuff that we didn't want to be drawn into and so forth. So I had a really nice communication then with Rhodan about it, and here is the first transmission from Rhodan. I saw Rhodan in a white robe, speaking and surrounded by all types of magnificent flowers of multi-shades of blue. There he stood in his white robe and white hair, seeming to look as a philosopher. I stood and watched him speak, but I couldn't tell who he was speaking to. I barely saw anything green, like grass. Just a sea of blue flowers, and a walkway that led up to where he spoke. But it was not a pedestal. He was standing at eye level. The weather seemed perfect, temperate, and I got drawn in and began to hear him speak.
I am here and I am there. In many places at one time. I am an orator in a blue hanging garden. I am a poet by a lofty beach in fair weather. I am a mystic in a dark cave of serenity, protected from the harsh elements. I am a tribal leader speaking to my many children by the moonlight. I am the wind song in the desert, where few humans dare to tread. I am the broken voice of a teenage child trying to share wisdom when no one knows what to do. I am the willow tree of life, imparting telepathic information. I am the dream within a dream within a dream of many truths and wisdom for those who choose to seek me out. It is not about the power, it was already ours. It was not about the attention, we know who we are. It was not about the companionship, we are already filled with love when we stand in our truth. It is not about curiosity, we had seen all things under the sun before humanity was birthed into reality. It is only about love, only love, that is overflowing in us and our desire to reach out to those who seek us out. We are made from love, we exist in love, we are love. And so are you. Never allow anyone to convince you that you're anything otherwise. If the voices say you are bad, you respond and say, I'm not perfect, and neither are you. If the voices tempt you to do things that are not of your true consent or desire, then forgive yourself. They have chosen to want to prove that you are unworthy, bad, and unable to ascend. Remember, they want to take your birthright of ownership of this planet and the designated place amongst the galactics. They had their chance to do what was right. They chose to be separate and in a dark place. We allow all to choose. However, we never gave them consent or permission to mistreat or lie about others. They carry the traits of envy, jealousy, anger, rage, revenge, retribution, manipulation, deception, distortion, lies, disguising their identities so you accept them. They say what you want to hear but have intentions of taking you with them into the dark place they have constructed for themselves that is void of all light. You were not destined for this forsaken land of theirs. You were created for the most wondrous things, beautiful vistas, shining stars and sunshine. You were created for the embrace of love and the continuation of your species. There is no such thing as the idea of lack. We are unlimited. There's no such thing as an overpopulation problem or lack of food. You have the ability to control and construct that. Scientists of your age are not truly concerned about lack or the problem of an ever-growing civilization. They are merely playing out the agenda of the Dark Ones, telling you that you have no purpose or are not worthy of anything. Let them live in their lives and move on in your truth. They will disappear because it is you, through the fears they have put in you, that keeps them around. Let them all go from you, in your mind and consciousness. Let them follow their dark road to destruction. You do not need to go there. Lift up your eyes as far as you can see. This was a gift to all of you. It's all yours. No one single being owns the earth. It is all owned by you. Look up into the stars. As far as you can see, this is your playground. Enjoy. Deep, deep.
Yeah. When I saw him in that space and he was standing there talking, like I said, I didn't know exactly who he was talking to, but it was all these beautiful blue flowers. And I thought he's just relaxed. He's just being who he is and sharing. And he looked very much like a philosopher there, but as I was, just thinking out loud, or thinking in my head, that's when he started sharing, I'm a poet, I'm this, I'm that. He's sort of just being and wanting to share, and those that are interested, he's always welcoming others to come and speak with him. And I thought it was very interesting, but in reference to the ones that he was talking about, the dark ones, I believe is this Joser group, and I think they're the ones that kind of, people talk about how they have something in their head, like someone's like saying something in their head, and they think it's their own voice. And I've talked about this before. I think I talked about this like during Christmas Eve, because I guess there's a high level of depression and problems then, but I felt like these beings also are really, really good at suggesting things in your head or repeating negative things that you might have heard when you were younger and making you feel defeated on the inside. And it's what we call the inner self-talk, but it's not necessarily just our own voice. They can disguise it in a way that makes you feel like it's your voice. And I think it's a cause of some suicides. It's the cause of people feeling like really bad about themselves or making some very bad judgment calls for their life. Usually it gears into this self-destructive mode or whatever. And take back your ownership and your sovereignty in your thoughts. And if you can do that, you can take back your sovereignty in other areas of your life. It has to begin from within. So I thought that piece was really interesting. But other than that, he was also saying that he's here because he wants to be here, because he has love. But we don't, he's not here to take anything. He doesn't want anything from us. But he does enjoy the aspect of communication. So that's what I like about Rhodan. I mean, he's not a taker. He's open-hearted and is like everyone's father in a way, or like a wise male figure that you can talk to.
What I'd call solar, like a sun, just shining out in all directions. Sun doesn't need a mirror.
No, it doesn't. And you're right. Yeah, he is like a sun, or is a sun. So, as opposed to Akhenaten, who's not a sun. But we can go on to Meetis. Meetis is next. I think you'd be interested. He was talking a bit about you, JP.
All right. Okay, here we go. Hello, flower. I hear you singing and minstrels around you, but I don't see them. Where's the music coming from? Is there a wayfair? A Mayfair? A celebration of sorts?
No, just listening to some music today. Feeling that the sun is shining and I want to enjoy it with music.
Oh, isn't that lovely? But where is the music coming from? Are they the fairies, the little people? I rather like the melody of their sound.
Meetis, it is music created by someone from another time, and then they played it over and over again You can play it over and over again if someone wants to hear it. We have a technology here in the future from you that enables people like you to share your music around the world.
I would like to share my music someday. Do you think that's possible?
Yes, of course, but do you realize that Primus has been singing your songs all along? We have them recorded as well, and he does an amazing job with them.
Oh, lovely. Does he know what melody I usually sing in?
I'm not sure. I think he finds a melody within himself, and then he sings it as if he knew your songs.
Yes, I send him the lead, the note and key. It's good. The note, key and melody. That's all one needs to turn words into a song. I was headed to the Priory when we began talking, thinking a bit of resting for a while and then going back out to travel to regions beyond my circle of friends. I feel I want to see something new and meet new people. I need to stretch and spread my wings. I like the sound of the music you played. Maybe I can bring my own version of what I heard while speaking with you. The music seemed to be a bit more intimate. I think the music I play makes one very jolly and uplifted, but yours may help them to ponder and possibly release some sorrows. It's good to have both. Here, add this song if you will. Key of C, key of C. A singer's voice has all the choice of what to sing in time. A melody sung by a tree can sound so sweet, divine. I sing to you, to all who are blue, a melody, kindness, a slower beat that won't defeat the gentle winds are timeless. I rise above, look near for love, to find one to hold and chime with. I sing like a dove, share a few words of love, and off we travel homeward. Tell me, dear ones, there's many ways to have fun, but few who help us move forward. A light will shine, a candle in time, another gate then opens, we travel through. So much to do, we then find new adventures before us. I live myself. No one can tell when I'm full of sorrow. I sing instead, retire early to bed, but rise as if none of it happened. We must let things go till tomorrow, you know. Don't rest upon your anger, release and be free. Don't be imprisoned to what they say. Allow all you do to be liberating and free. La 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 la. At last be free. No one else can help me but me. La la la, la la la. The time has passed for me to complain about others or worry at last. La la la, I am bound no more. The sky is open and so much new is in store. La la la, I am free, I am free. I make my own decisions and I do whatever I please. I make my own decisions and I do whatever I please. La la la, everybody join in. La la la, la la la. La la la, la la la, la la la.
La la la, everyone.
La la la. Everyone join in. Yeah. There we go. That was the prize. And it's... Okay. So, is it time for me to engage the beam up machine?
Yeah.
What's it called? The transporter
Gary.
device. Okay. One to beam up.
Oh, hello, Gary. How are you today?
I'm eating twisted pancakes. Hold on.
Twisted pancakes. What are those? Like a donut or a pastry?
No. Something they call a crepe. With fluffy white cream inside and white powder. I got the white powder all over me and it makes me...
Oh, God bless you. The powdered sugar. I bet that tastes really good.
They're okay. I'm not sure about human food. It is delightful, don't get me wrong. I like a good pizza now and then. Sometimes there are too many artificial tastes. Blah.
Do you ever eat fruit?
Fruit? Now, isn't that boring?
How could you not like fruit, Gary?
Because it's boring, that's all. Like spinach and cucumbers and green things.
No, Gary, those are vegetables.
Vegetables? I thought that was a powder. Don't you drink those things with dehydrated vegetables and the frozen fruit? Oh, disgusting. It's like pre-chewed food. One would think that humans don't have any teeth with all your gooey, soft liquid food you all eat. Everything is pre-processed. Even your children eat like the elderly. Why not crunch on something? You know, chew a bit. Nothing seems to taste like it's supposed to. Like granola. What is granola? Yogurt. How does that they go together? What were they thinking?
Gary, how did we get on this topic?
Because I was eating twisted pancakes. That's all. I think I'll have another one. This time with berries and lots of coffee.
Gary, where are you now?
I'm on the Champs-Élysées. I'll have one with bananas too.
It sounds like you're hungry today.
Hungry, yes, but also getting ready for a nice long trip on a boat. Don't tell anyone, but I have to capture all the off-world sea creatures that snuck in from Atlantis.
Oh, I thought they were from Neptune. As a matter of fact, I think the scientists believe they are mutated fish from Fukushima.
In part, some of them are. We know the difference. Well, off I go to my fishing... off I go to my fishing trip. Merci, Pierre.
Be careful, Gary.
Don't worry, I'll make sure I'm fully clothed. I want to keep them guessing what gender I am. Farewell, Earthlings.
Happy fishing, Gary.
One to beam up.
Twisted pancakes.
Twisted pancakes.
I was like, what is he talking about?
Oh, wow, sounds lovely. Yeah.
They're crepes.
Crêpes Suzette. Merci, Pierre.
And did you see what, I guess that they had him going and looking for those weird fish, that they found in the sea. He says they came from Atlantis. I thought they were just, mutated, but someone must have released them. And some of them from Neptune as well.
Neptuna fish. So,
it's like the plants with heads.
yeah, oh God, don't talk to me about these strange women plant creatures. That freaked me out when I first read about it. Yeah.
Well, we should be prepared for that, and when we start to open up to the galactic field, who really knows what we're going to encounter? I know already there's some strangeness here, and a lot of it's hidden by our governments, or the men in black, or whoever is kind of covering this stuff up. There's some strangeness here already, and I don't know, it could be all Star Wars, really.
Could be indeed. So, shall we take our break with some songs from? What was Meetis saying? They're a bit. What was? Like,
this is the music too that I was listening to.
Yeah, it's like melancholy, as he was saying, or something.
Yeah, this was all Nick Drake songs. There's 3 Nick Drake songs: "Fly" and "Things Behind," and "Time Has Told Me Something." I don't know. I can't see.
Time Has Told Me, and then "Things Behind the Sun."
Yeah, Behind the Sun. So, I was listening to Nick Drake. He seemed to like it.
Oh, yeah.
He just.
And then he says, maybe I can bring my own version of what I heard while speaking with you.
And for those that are hanging on, and we still have another hour left of the show, we have 2 guests coming on, and they're going to be talking about their connection to Lyra. So we're going to have a very, very wonderful conversation about the Lyrans in the second hour.
Fabulous. Okay, so here's some Nick Drake, everybody. We're on now.
Okay. So, we are back now, and we have our guest here today. We'll just go by, we have Jean.
Hello.
Hello, Jean. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
And we have James here with us.
G'day, how's it going?
Very good. And thank you for joining us today. Now, the topic for today is we're going to discuss Lyra and some of the information that we had some private sessions and the information came up about Lyra. And there's things coming up, especially since I channeled Shira. I'm feeling very, very connected to, what's going on with Lyra. And I also feel like this is the energy that brings us into the future. And we have a lot of groups that have helped us to clear the earth, to do all sorts of things. But there's a few of our galactic friends that are coming in that are actually going to help us move forward and doing it by example, which I thought was quite interesting. So, if we wanted, we could start off by sharing a little bit of stories, our own personal stories. James, why don't you start?
Yeah, sure.
Give us a little background about who you are and as
okay.
much as information you want to share, it's up to you.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think, I sort of started on this journey of questioning everything around me quite a while ago. And I've sort of, I've traveled around the world a little bit. But I really feel like I started waking up probably about 2 or 3 years ago. I'm an acupuncturist at the moment. So, I've sort of always really enjoyed connecting with people and, just trying to get to the bottom of things with people and trying to help them figure themselves out. Obviously, as the world's waking up, more people are communicating with each other, and it was really cool when you started doing the Andronicus transmissions. Mm-hmm. That was a huge wake-up call. It really felt like a bit of a, sort of an activation of sorts. And I think from that, I started to get quite a lot of, just quite a lot of memories come back, potentially about Lyra. And I suppose even just saying the word, it's got an amazing resonance to it for me. So, you know, one thing led to another, and then all of a sudden, you've got Audrey Ewis come on. And I mean, that was just an amazing thing to sort of send out to the world, I think. So, you know, these sorts of events occurred, and yeah, I've just got a really big connection with what happened in Lyra all those eons ago. And yeah, I suppose, I just want to connect with, you know, like-minded people and try and remember more. And then also, you know, like you were just saying, try and sort of apply those lessons into my daily life and sort of lead by example, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when we connected, I mean, I never have any idea where things are going, but what was interesting is I had 3 sessions, 3 different people in a row from different parts of, different parts of the world. And they all had an amazing connection to Lyra. Also, you know, I had the opportunity then to kind of take another look and see something further. And, you know, one of them is, you know, she's not here, but she had an amazing connection with, I was able to actually see her walking down one of the walkways and how she was dressed, and to have this whole, like, you know, immersion into that experience and the energy, it just totally blissed me out again. I just felt like I was very high, and it felt really light and very uplifted and just really wonderful. And I was like, wow, they really had it together. Like, they were in unity. There was no conflict. It was just a flowing, beautiful nature. And of course, this is before the Lyran trauma that we talked about, or the story about what Audrey Ewis talked about with the locusts, these locust beings that he mentioned. But I just felt like everyone was pretty much on the same page. Like, you know, that there was nothing to explain. There were no heavy guidelines or constructs or anything like that. It was just there's this higher level of existence with true harmony.
Yeah. It really, one sort of memory I've got is that it felt like that we were our own government, if you know what I mean. And that's sort of how we operated. Like government on an individual person level.
So you're saying that each person was sovereign and they were kind of governing themselves. Right. Yeah, because I did see you in a power position, but I didn't see you as misusing your power. It was sort of more for organizational purposes or, organization.
Yeah, that definitely rang true on some level. It's very, very interesting reading.
Right. Now you're familiar with it. JP did a wonderful explanation of the Lyran trauma. And you listen to that as well, James?
Yeah, that was an extremely powerful transmission for me. I think one thing that, you know, is sort of our strength, you know, as Lyrans or as that energy, is that we're all connected. And, I think we've got an amazing, ability to have empathy for each other. And, you know, that it is a positive thing, but it can also be quite a painful thing at times. If someone else, if one of your brothers or sisters is feeling pain, I sort of feel like I might feel it too. And in that transmission, I must admit it was difficult to listen to, but there was something very powerful about it. So I was quite grateful for it.
JP, you here with us? Can you give the people that if they haven't heard about the Lyran trauma, a kind of an overview, and not to minimize it, or, you know, where they can hear more about it?
On my Actually, if you're listening on YouTube, it's in the same channel. It's a playlist called Lyra, the Human Origin. And, essentially all my, Ever Beyond shows and things that I've done, with regard to Lyra have been, collected there. So, essentially, the Lyran trauma was, well, it's depicted in several movies and things in a roundabout way, not in but essentially when Darth Vader uses the Death Star on Alderaan, that's one of the things, and essentially the reptilian Draco reptilians turn up. Not all reptilians are like this, but these guys were. And they turn up and they say, "Hello, we're from the government and we're here to help you." And the Lyrans say, "Oh, no thanks." Like you said, James, we're our own government. We don't need any governing. And the reptilians took this as an insult. And before anybody could say, nuclear weapons, there were 4 planets that had been exploded like that. And of course, we're talking about races of beings who are in a unified, it's a galactic collective. Everybody was telepathically connected with everybody else. So if even one person was to die, everybody would feel it, and it was like planets worth of people. And I believe that has created a form of PTSD that has kind of gone into our DNA. And I've spoken to various people about it, including one of our guests tonight. So maybe we should hand over to Jean. Is that enough of enough of
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, Jean, I want you to share, any information you want to share about yourself. And when I started to talk to Jean, some amazing things came up. I was really thrilled about it. And so go ahead, Jean, and share with everyone a little bit about your story.
I was pretty thrilled myself, to be honest, Jessica, because turquoise is my favourite colour. And to see me in a turquoise robe completely blew me away. But just a little bit about my background. I'm not so young as I once was, but so that's given me quite a lot of life experience. I've been a mother, still am a mother, but I'm also a grandmother, and quite a varied sort of background as careers go, but I did finish up in my later years as a counsellor, and in particular a loss and bereavement counsellor. I'm particularly interested by the fact that James is an acupuncturist, because my most recent interest, if you like, apart from some deep interest in the most modern science, which is leading us towards explaining these things and giving us a real grasp on it all, is into qi and how that is manipulated by the movement of parts of the body, in particular our hands. And I'm kind of having my own sort of investigation into that at the moment. But coming back to the Lyran part of all of this, when I realised I was Lyran about a year ago, I was told, I began to look more and more deeply into ancient history and wanted to construct a narrative around that, and began writing about a world which may be the Earth, but it may be Lyra, it may be both. And when we were speaking, Jessica, you picked up on a lot of what I'd written, saying that you could see me as a healer in, interestingly, a magisterial family. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And magisterial, I pondered on that for a while, because one of the things I studied at school was Latin, and a magister or magister, to give it golden age pronunciation, would be either a teacher or someone who was called upon as an elder statesman to run the country in times of crisis. So I was interested that you chose that word, and maybe interesting to other people.
Yeah, they chose that word.
Well,
yeah. I mean, they give me the information. Sometimes I have to look it up.
Well, I went away and checked it up on it myself, because I remembered that it was a teacher, but I had this feeling in the back of my mind that there was actually another designation to it. And it was, in fact, one of the names they gave to a type of dictator in times of trouble in Rome. So, that's interesting. But, maybe also interesting to the listeners was that you saw me in the healing room, the well chamber, I call it,
Right.
where the lighting from the ceiling is a kind of orangey yellow, and it's coming through crystals. It's generated in my story. It's generated by water traveling through crystal tunnels. So a small amount of light is fed into a system of water channels running through crystal, and this creates power of varying kinds and also alters the water to make it a more powerful healing water. And you saw also the healing table, which is made of quartz, and although it is a crystal stone, to the person lying upon it, it feels quite soft, and it actually kind of molds to them. So it's truly vibrating. It's a truly vibrational type of healing, which is done through the mode of this table. So it's vibrational, both in light and in sound. And those things are in the control of the skilled person who's been trained to use these things. So, yeah, that was kind of, I think, what we managed to kind of discover together. Oh, and you also noticed that there was a different quality to the actual density of the air around us.
Right.
And that there was a much greater energy, which once again we could make
plasma. I think it
was a plasma.
Plasma energy, like in the air. It was different.
It was different.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned that I've become very interested in the deep scientific studies of a group of scientists, funnily enough, based around an Australian guy called Wal Thornhill, and they are currently funding an experiment with a star in a jar. It's called Sapphire Project, and they are creating the sun inside a chamber and discovering these things, these plasmas and the effects of them, which seem to fall in line with Walter Russell's descriptions of how light works. So, very interesting times we live in.
And Jean, when we talked about, like, I had seen Lyra, and typically I saw them wearing kind of light, flowy clothing, mostly of a white color. And when I saw your outfit, there was that vibrant turquoise. I was like, wow. Now I wouldn't have, expected to see that.
Yeah.
But it did something. I think the color, they had an awareness of the use of color, and it wasn't like just all over the place. It was very specific and specifically used. And so I was assuming that was the color used in the healing chambers.
It was different colors of light would be used for different purposes, and in the same way that we're used to the idea of coloured light for our own chakras within our bodies, within our energy bodies, that's, I think, where some of that inspiration for that came from. I can't claim that that's necessarily entirely driven by